Hello, everyone. Welcome. I hope everyone's having a good Tuesday. To kick us off, my name is Cruzvergara. I am Handshake's Chief Education Strategy Officer, and I am extremely excited to welcome you all here today for a very special conversation with U.S. Department of Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo. We have about 30 minutes of discussion today. We're starting a little bit late, so we've cut that down to 25. But we will include some questions that we have secured from some students in advance. So thank you very much for submitting those questions. Madam Secretary, I'm thrilled to have you here to talk about semiconductors. This is an industry that is incredibly important to the future of our innovation and to our country, and increasingly popular with early talent. So before we dive in, Madam Secretary, could you introduce yourself and tell us a few words about how you started your career and what has led you here to the Department of Commerce?
Definitely. So I'm extremely excited to be with you guys, and I very much appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do this. I, like many of you, maybe, took a meandering path to where I am today, and my message to you is that's okay. You shouldn't have to know now exactly what you want to do or be, and it'll change. So I started my career as a lawyer, and then went into business. And then I focused on healthcare in business. And then I got into elected office as a public official. And of course, now I'm an appointed official of the federal government. I was in the state government, now the federal government. So, you know, a lot of different things in there. I still have a lot to go in my career. I expect I'll do other things, different things. And that whenever I talk to young people, that's a message. You have to be opportunistic. Don't be afraid to take risk. Do what you're good at, do what you enjoy, and you'll find your way.
I love that. I couldn't agree more with your advice on that. Now, before we jump into anything else, let's level set. Secretary, can you give us the lay of the land? What is the CHIPS Act? What are semiconductors? Why are they important?
So semiconductors are the tiny data processors in every piece of electronics that we have. So everyone here has a phone, runs on hundreds of semiconductors. Your car probably has 1,000 semiconductors. The microphone that we're talking through has semiconductors. Anything digital or electronic runs on chips. Computer, obviously. And because we're moving into a completely digital economy, the cloud is powered by semiconductors. Artificial intelligence is incredibly dependent on semiconductors. The demand for semiconductors is going up. And the challenge is that the United States, although we once led in semiconductor manufacturing, we made about 40% of the world's chips in America. We actually founded the industry. We have taken our eye off the ball. Most of those jobs have gone to Asia, mostly because of cheaper labor. And we find ourselves in a really bad spot where we only make about 10% of the world's chips in the United States. We're dangerously dependent on a few countries in Asia for our chips at a time when, everything requires more chips. Right. You can't do anything in the military or in commerce without chips. So anyway, what I'm doing is investing $50 billion of taxpayer money in partnership with the private sector to incentivize semiconductor companies to expand in America. And here's where you come in. In the process of doing that, we will create 250,000 high-paying, six-figure jobs in the semiconductor industry. And we need people to be trained to take those jobs.
That's perfect. We're already seeing a lot of that on Handshake. Just in the past year, we've seen semiconductor companies increase the number of internships by 40%. And we anticipate, obviously, as you just said, that that's going to continue to rise. Could you talk a little bit about what you anticipate will be the workforce needs for this industry? And how do you see early talent playing a role? Will there be lots of early talent positions that will be needed at these companies?
Yes. Here's the good news. There will be jobs created at every level and across a number of different areas. So there will be jobs for folks that have high school and a credential, a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, a PhD degree, obviously heavy on engineering, heavy on design, heavy on software and digital capacity. But the truth of it is, for a long time in America, we didn't create enough jobs for people actually making things. It requires a lot of different kinds of skill, to engineering talent, design talent, process talent to make stuff. And I don't mean making software, I mean making hardware, things.
Yep.
So as a result of the fact that we've allowed those jobs to leave America, we need to rebuild that talent pool. And a lot of those jobs will go to people with a 4-year degree in science, technology, and a lot of them won't. Like, I forget the statistic exactly, but right now there's a huge shortage of semiconductor technicians. A huge number of jobs available right now for people. Really good jobs with a career. Don't need a 4-year college degree. So that, I think it's exciting. By the way, the other thing, I'm not sure what people's interests are on the call, but tons of construction jobs will be created, and these are advanced construction jobs, like everything from drone operators to welders, electrical engineers, plumbers, pipe fitters, operating engineers to build these facilities and maintain them. So I think it's the reason I'm so excited to join you is I want your generation, to think about making a living, making things in America. And for a long time, that wasn't the case. And I'm asking you to think about it, because it's incredibly rewarding at the end of your day to go home and know that you were part of making something that makes a difference in the world.
I love that. Well, I think it's safe to say that we're starting to see a lot of that interest really increase. On Handshake, some of our data is showing that for full-time jobs posted between September and February of this past school year, applications were up 30 days after, or 79% compared to last year for semiconductor companies, and only for 19% across other companies. So I'm kind of curious, from your perspective, what might attract someone to a job in a semiconductor company right now? You mentioned some of the really great perks. What else might attract somebody who's kind of on the fence right now?
It's fun, it's high paying, you can make a career of it, and it's a growing industry. And you'll be part of making America stronger. Like I said before, we buy 90% of our most sophisticated chips from a couple countries in Asia. That's not good for America. So in addition to everything I just said, it's just a good job with a career path and good pay and interesting work, you'll be making the United States of America stronger. And I think that's an important thing for people to think about.
Absolutely. Now, the semiconductor industry has a reputation for being male dominated. How can we help bring more attention to the sector that a diverse range of candidates are really needed?
Yeah, it's a well-earned reputation because it is male dominated. It's starting to change, needs to change even more and faster. But I can tell you, I've, of course, spent a lot of time with the executive teams of these semiconductor companies. They want and need a diverse talent pool. They want it. They know they need it. They know they won't hit their goals without it. And if you're a woman on this meeting, or someone who, has no one in their family who's done anything in semiconductors or manufacturing or science, take a look at this sector. It's a growing sector. It's a good place to be. I would encourage my kids are a little bit younger than you guys, but I'm trying to encourage them to think about post-college jobs. This is a really interesting place to be. And you don't have to be a PhD physicist. If you are, they'll hire you. Okay. If you're a PhD chemical engineer or material science expert, they'll hire you. But if you have a 2-year degree in advanced manufacturing or design, or you go to a credentialing program and you're willing to work hard and learn, they'll hire you too.
I love that. I love that. Now, Secretary, we have some time for a quick lightning round before we get into the student submitted questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. What was your first job or internship?
My first job was as a waitress. I was a kid, summer after 8th grade. My first internship, I interned at the public defender's office in Rhode Island, which is where I'm from.
I love that. What was the most important thing you learned being a waitress?
How to deal with people, actually. How to deal with all kinds of people, be friendly, and actually just how to work very hard. It's a hard job.
Yes, absolutely. So many transferable skills in that career. And did you ever think that you would spend so much time talking about semiconductors?
Never. No, never, ever, ever. But it's important. But I'll tell you this, I know it's a lightning round, but my dad was in manufacturing, and Rhode Island, where I'm from, was a big manufacturing state. And I have vivid memories as a kid of my dad getting into the car with his bag lunch and all of his buddies carpooling to the factory where he worked. And even as a child, I felt a certain sense of security with the manufacturing job. My dad was so proud of spending his days making things. And it felt to me as a kid, a place for everybody in that factory. Like his best friend was a security guard. He was in metallurgy. Somebody else was in HR. So I've been a huge believer in American manufacturing for a long time. It's in my blood, the way I was raised. I did a lot as governor. So semiconductors, no, but I really did take this job to work with the president to revitalize American manufacturing, advanced manufacturing. And I hope that young folks think about making a career, like you say, in manufacturing. Building software is good, writing algorithms is good, doing services business is good. It's all fine if that's what you want to do. But if you're psyched about the thought of, using your hands and your mind and your talent to make things that make America stronger, then think about the chip industry.
That's right. I love that. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. What's your number one tip for somebody that's early in their career?
Take some risk. Bet on yourself. Take some risk, calculated risk. But, if there's an opportunity, if someone gives you an opportunity, would you like to do more? Would you take on this project? Say yes. Figure out later how you're going to get it done. Just say yes. Someone says to you, I'd like you to take this on or do this challenge or do this assignment. Yes. And then figure out how to get it done. That's worked for me. And I think a lot of people, for whatever reason, might shy away from that. I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. Don't do that. Go for it.
I love that. I love that. I'm going to squeeze one more rapid round question in. Would you give that same advice to someone who is unsure of how to launch their career? Should they just say yes to the opportunities that are in front of them?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be reckless. From the time my kids were like 5, I taught them cost benefit analysis and how to make decisions. What's the benefit? What's the cost? So I'm not saying, take frivolous risk, but I am saying it's important to take some risk and not shy. Let me say that. Don't make decisions based on fear. If you want to do it, if you think you can be successful, if you have the team, then you should do it. You shouldn't not do things because you're afraid, especially at your age and stage. Now's the time to pursue things that you love.
You and I have very similar philosophy on life. I love that. I love that so much. I'm going to turn it over to my team, who is going to share some of our questions that are coming in. The first one is from a fantastic student, Casey Gavin from Washington State, who is going to ask you her question, Secretary Raimondo.
Hi there. My name is Casey Gavin, and I am an undergraduate student studying mechanical engineering at Washington State University in Pullman, Washington. I've spent my summer interning at Micron Technology, a semiconductor company leading the world in innovative memory and storage solutions. This is my third college internship and my first in this industry, which leads me to ask this question. As a young generation known for their interest in technology and innovation, especially in emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things, why should Gen Z specifically consider the semiconductor industry as a pathway to contribute to groundbreaking advancements and shape the future of technology?
Casey, you are so impressive. I'm pretty sure you don't need my advice based upon that presentation and the fact that you're already at Micron and have already had several internships. But I would say this: all innovation of the future rests on semiconductors, artificial intelligence, new forms of diagnostics, new and faster cures for diseases, new medical devices. None of that is possible without semiconductors and without more advances in semiconductors, because anything that requires compute power or data or digitization or AI, the foundation is chips. So if I were in your shoes and a young person and I got excited about any of those things or any innovation, I might think about the semiconductor industry, because that's ground zero. None of that happens without chip innovation.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Let's go to our second question.
Hi there, my name is Casey.
Our second question is from Richard Morek from Lorraine Community College.
Hello, my name is Richard Morick. I'm a student at LCC in the MEMS program. I'm graduating in 2024, and I'm currently working at Rockwell Automation as a SMT line operator. I was just wondering, how do you plan to increase the awareness of semiconductor and semiconductor-related jobs in the college space as a whole?
I'm trying to do that right now by talking to you guys. I'm hoping that a few of you will leave this meeting and go talk to your friends and say, hey, there's a lot of jobs coming up in the semiconductor industry. You should check it out. The other thing I'm doing is working with colleges, high schools, community colleges to encourage them to change the way they teach. So they are teaching students skills that matter for jobs that pay today in the semiconductor industry. So just constantly talking about it and working through these pipelines with educational institutions.
Perfect. We're very grateful to have this partnership with you so we can bring more awareness to our students about these important opportunities. Our next student is Hope Arnett from Caltech.
Hello, my name is Hope Arnett, and I'm an electrical engineering major at Caltech, graduating in spring 2024. I'm currently interning in Dallas at Texas Instruments as an applications engineer on the power design services team. My question to you is, from the perspective of a businesswoman and a policymaker, what advice would you give to young professionals who aspire to one day take on managerial and executive roles in the private sector? Thank you in advance.
Thank you, Hope. That's incredible, by the way. You're off to an amazing start, and I'm glad you've chosen TI, great American company making things. As I said before, don't be afraid of risk. Take on more work, ask for more work, ask for more responsibility, embrace the responsibility, embrace the risk that comes with it. Ask questions and seek the support so you can be successful. And just don't shy away from, more responsibility. Don't shy away from having a chance to talk about your work, highlight your work in the organization. You want to be seen for what you're doing so that more opportunities will come your way.
Fantastic. Thank you. And for our last submitted student question, this is Hamlin from Texas State University.
Hi, my name is Halim. I am a material science PhD candidate at Texas State University, and I will be graduating in fall this year. Currently, I am working as a process engineer intern at Applied Materials Santa Clara in Engineered Optics Group. As a material scientist, my job is to design new materials to support the evolving market need. Do you see the global supply chain of raw materials as one of the challenges for the US to maintain its leading role in semiconductor chip fabrication industry? If so, do you believe creating more materials engineering role could help reduce the supply chain gap? Thank you.
Yes. Amazing. So, funny footnote, material science is the only thing I almost failed in college. So I admire anyone who can get a degree in that. Yes, I worry about the raw materials. We are very dependent, again, on just a few countries in the world for certain raw materials that we need for semiconductors. And so that means we need innovation, right? I think in the next 10 or 20 years, there will be a lot of innovation in the material space in semiconductors for a variety of reasons. And so I think you're in a perfect spot, actually, to be about to graduate with that degree already at Applied Materials. But as we think about smaller chips, more sophisticated chips, some say the end of Moore's law, materials and materials innovation really matters. And so I think it's incredible that you're doing this, and I'm glad you are.
Halim, thank you so much for your question. I apologize, I mispronounced your name when I first introduced you. Secretary Raimondo, thank you for all of your answers today and for highlighting the types of opportunities that are available in the semiconductor industry. I think it's been very insightful for all of the students that I know are tuning in live today and all of the ones that have registered that plan on watching your video in just a little bit to learn more about the types of opportunities, internships, and full-time roles that they can go into. I think there's a lot of opportunity here, obviously, for our country. I know you believe that, and we need really great early talent to go into these roles so that we can build this up for all of us. Thank you so much for being here with us, for sharing your wisdom, and for helping to bring more awareness to the semiconductor industry. We really appreciate your time, and thank you to everyone else that's here as well.
Thank you, Christine. Nice to meet you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good one.